A lot of times, though, you guys, it's about thinking on your feet. Okay, here's an example. They sent us to the tsunami in Southeast Asia. I'm sitting in my office, I'm BSing with one of the guys there. They're like, oh, good, you're here. Go to the tsunami. You're like, okay. So you go home and you pack some stuff, and you're thinking, where are we going? We're going somewhere to this little place called Phuket. They go, we need you to start feeding the story back right when you get there. Well, we haven't even left, okay? You're on a plane for 20-something hours, so you're in a black hole. You don't even know what's happening. So as soon as we land, they say, where's the tape? I go, we just got it. We don't even know where the crew is. We can't, there are no cars. It's a mess here. But they said, we need it. Well, we had a puddle jumper plane to get to our specific spot. So I said to my producer, man, we have to start feeding, but we need to find a story now, okay? So I'm thinking anybody who's going into the tsunami has a story. Either they're helping someone, they've lost something. So I'm sitting next to, I go, we're going to get in strategic seats, sit next to people, talk to them, and then we'll figure out. We'll keep moving around the plane until we find somebody with a story, because we've got to have one. So I'm sitting next to this guy, and he's from Australia, and he's like, I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, my friend survived the tsunami. I go, really? Yes, here, he was on a boat. I go, what happened? He goes, oh, the boat went up, and then the boat went down, and he's fine. I'm like, that story sucks. Really? I mean, that's not enough. I go, okay. So anyway, then the plane has turbulence, so I can't leave my seat. So I'm stuck next to this guy with the boat going up and down. I'm thinking of all the seats to be stuck in. It's this guy's. So he's like, anyway, it was quite, scary. I said, I'm sure it was, but for a Dateline piece, you need more than that, okay? It's a long piece. So he starts with his computer showing me a million pictures of his mother. I was like, oh, I'm like done, my jugular vein, like I'm thinking we got to feed, and this guy is showing me. And finally he clicks to his friend. He goes, oh, there's my friend. I said, your friend's in a wheelchair? He said, oh yes, he tethered himself to the side of the boat in the wheelchair. And I go, and then he goes, and then he rescued a couple of people. I'm like, what? So suddenly the non-story, because I took the headline and ran away with it, turned into a big story. So I said, could we meet him right when we get off the boat? He said, sure. So he calls the guy, and he goes, yes, some people from the news, where are you from? I go, NBC. MBC, I go, no, because no one knows, it doesn't matter. I go, we're just with American TV. He goes, they want to interview you. And he said, how about Tuesday? I go, how about in 10 minutes? Oh, okay. The guy shows up, you guys. He comes in on this dinghy, okay? He doesn't have the use of his legs. I walk out in the clothes that I wore on the plane into the water. I climb up on that little boat with him. Our camera crew is in the water shooting this whole thing. This guy is describing what it was like, and we're on the water. And it's a moment, but sometimes you just have to try to hit it just right, okay? Some days you get really lucky, and some days it's much more difficult. So I went from hard news to laughing and scratching with Kathie Lee Gifford, and drinking sometimes on TV. So it's weird how your life takes these crazy, crazy turns, right? So I was in Pakistan, Afghanistan, all that stuff. And then you wind up sitting next to Kathie Lee, and I gotta tell you something interesting though, you guys. When you are in news, you sometimes are buttoned up. You're very careful about what you say and how you say it and who you are, and sometimes you start even looking like you're not even yourself. That's right, Brian. I'm here at the fire. It's like, who are you? It's so weird. It's so unnatural and odd, okay? There's something magical about being just who you are. Now, I'm telling you right now, when you go to different television places, whether you're in management or on air or whatever, people are going to try to change you, to cut your hair, to act like this one, to do this. It's really important to stay authentic to who you are. And the show with Kathie Lee, oddly, has taught me about being free. Like freeing yourself a little bit and just being who you are. People will forgive you of a mistake if it's a natural one. If you are so buttoned up and squared in and tight, like a news corset tied around you, it's tough. I was co-hosting with Kathie Lee, and she doesn't have any notes, or she can't see the prompter because she can't read anymore, it's too far away. Nothing's going on. She doesn't wear the IFB, the earpiece, nothing. So I know what's going on, and she just talks. So that's kind of our relationship. I do the heavy lifting. Anyway, so as I'm sitting there, one day we're on the plaza, and I'm so worried about like 30 seconds to go, and turn to camera 2, and turn to camera 1. And she's babbling on and on. I don't even know what she's talking about, quite frankly. I don't usually. But anyway, so I look over at her, and she goes, I'm right here. I go, what? She goes, I'm here. She goes, get rid of your cards. On the air. We're on the plaza. I go, what? She goes, please, just get rid of your cards. And I thought, if I get rid of the cards, nobody knows what's going on. right? So literally I looked at her and I thought, okay. I took the cards and I threw them. And I'll never forget, we're outside on the plaza, and I was just watching the whole show fall to the ground. It's like, goodbye. I looked at her, and for the first time, we talked. It was the first time. I actually was not listening to what someone was telling me. I wasn't thinking about the next thing. And the lesson there, and it works in every part of journalism, is be here now. When you guys are with me in this room, I am with you. I'm not thinking about going to see my mom afterwards for dinner. I'm not thinking about what happened on our show today, or I'm not thinking about going to Montreal for our show tomorrow. I am with you. And I think one of the most important lessons, I think, in journalism is be here now. When you are with someone, you be 100% with them. When you are interviewing them, there's no one else. Don't think about the next thing. Be present, because it took me this long to learn that lesson. And I wish I had known it before. Because now, when I'm in an interview, sometimes I would have my questions and I was all ready. Like, okay, question 1, question 2, question 3. I was with this guy, I was interviewing him, I go, so, what were you doing when you were on the street? He said, I went to the street and I turned left. Oh, then what happened after you turned left? I turned right. And then what happened? And then I saw Jesus Christ. And then what happened after you turned left? Like, I'm not even listening to what he's telling me. Do you know what I mean? You have to be 100% there, because it happens in life. You're thinking of your next thing. Because I know you're not all with me right now. Some of you are, and some of you aren't, and that's life. But try really hard to live by that be here now deal, because it really, really keeps you exactly where you want to be. Let me tell you what works for interns and people who are coming up in the business, because we've seen them all come and go. Some of them, you want to be someone who's remembered, but not the crazy stalker one, if you know what I'm talking about, because I know some of you are like that in here. You know what I mean? You know who you are. You want to be someone who's present, but not cuckoo. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing I remember. I'm at the Xerox machine, okay? And an intern walked up and said, can I do that for you, because I know you have stuff to do. I never forgot it. Yes. I go to my office, she brings the thing, I remembered her, I called her again for the next thing. It's a small thing, but it's important. Sometimes we have interns and different people at different levels who feel like, and I get it, sometimes you work so hard and now you're getting coffee. That happened to me. I was like, I worked my tail off and now I want coffee with 2 creams and a sugar. Okay, it messes with your head a little bit. But it's important, no matter where you are, that there's a line that says, bloom where you're planted. When you're there, be the best, be the absolute best at what you can be right there. Don't think about the next thing. The next thing will come, I promise you. But make sure that wherever you are, even if they're making you do BS work, and I have done my share and then some. I've gotten coffee, I've gotten yelled at. I mean, I had one job that was just getting coffee and getting yelled at, pretty much. But even with that job, I made sure that I wanted to get them the coffee before they thought about the coffee. I was thinking it through because I wanted to make sure they remembered me. So I think that's important. If you can travel, and I know that not everyone can, but if you can, it's worth saving up some money and doing it. I'm telling you right now, the world is so small. What's helped me on my stories, especially overseas stories, is not being wigged out when I first get there. It's a weird feeling when you're like, oh my God. And naturally, we all are a little bit like that, but it's better if you have a little bit of an understanding, because the way the world's working, everything is shrinking down. Everything is shrinking and getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I would make sure, if you can, if you have the means, or if you can save up for it, it's worth doing. The other thing too is, I think sometimes when you make a decision in life, you think you're making a life changer. Should I go to this college? Oh my God, I ruined my life. I picked the wrong college. Okay, first of all, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to make a bad decision when it comes to stuff like that. I chose Virginia Tech. There was no communications department at Tech. None. Zero. No one came from there. No one even knew it was there. It was an engineering school. Okay? All you have to, when I took my first job, I was thinking, was that the right thing? When I took my second job, should I have done that? Or just keep making choices and keep living them. Because I think if you second guess, I should have, I could have, why didn't I? Forget it. So make sure that when they're not huge choices, even though you feel like they are. If I don't choose the right thing, God, I don't know what's going to happen. Trust me when I tell you that you're going to, as long as you stay positive and you keep looking ahead, you're going to end up doing really, really well.